Hey, did you do your homework? It's week 2. You've gone through week 1. Or this might be your first week just joining us. Nevertheless, it is more generous. It's all about being more generous this week. How to teach you how to receive all that God has for you. He said, I came that you might have life and that you might have it what? Say it again. I didn't hear you. That you might have it more abundantly. And it starts with, in addition to being more like Jesus, more generous. Now, this is what Anne Frank said, and I love this quote. It's a great gem. No one has ever become poor by giving. Why? Because giving is about reciprocity. We live in a world of reciprocity. What do we mean by that? God gives us life. God gives us the air to breathe. God gives us everything that we need. What He asks is that we give Him 1/10 of it back. 1/10 of our life, 1/10 of our treasure, and 1/10 of our talent. You're going to learn that this week. Now you already know that you got to do the devotion each day, and it begins with one major scripture, and you write, what did you hear when you read that scripture? That's how it begins. What did you think? What will you do? And then now talk to God and write the prayer. In addition to that, guess what else you do? You do the daily devotion. Today's truth. Point to ponder, point to pray. More generosity. And why more generosity? So that you can receive all that God has for you. John 10:10 says it. I came that you might have life and that you have it, what? More abundantly. When you have an abundance of life, there's 2 things that you do with that abundance. The wealth that you gain in generosity, learning how to give your tithe. When you have more, you give more to the kingdom. God builds the kingdom by what you give. That's how God builds the kingdom, by what you give. God doesn't leave heaven and build the kingdom. He does it through you. That's why He says, don't come before Him empty-handed. You're going to learn about how to be more generous. As you gain and build wealth, God doesn't ask for everything, just 1/10 of it. The rest is left to you to build your wealth for living. 3 generations He requires of us. 3 generations. Your children, your children's children, and your children's children. That's what you're going to learn this week. More generosity. Now, remember, do your homework, do the daily devotion, and guess what? Invite somebody. I'll see you next week. Let's go to class.